morning, everybody. It's Saturday, and I've barely woken up. And I wanted to share with you just for a few minutes the results of the PoP quiz. And you all know what the PoP quiz was, so I won't repeat it. Roughly half of you participated, and I want to thank you because you'll be given extra credit points, or an extra credit point. Now you might say, a point? Yeah, well, a point, when you think about it, can make up for 5-6 weeks of losing points on your discussion thread, because I try not to take too many points off if I do take a point or two off, or a fraction of a point. I usually take I could take up to 4/10 of a point, right? So, in any event, there'll be additional PoP quizzes, but I wanted to share with you the general results, and I want to thank those of you that participated, and you were candid and honest, and kind of mixed results, but compared to other classes. But what I noticed about those of you that participated here on this PoP quiz question, the majority of you answered no. And most of you that answered no said that you would be part of an underground movement, a resistance, and you would look to help people quietly. And that's commendable. And most of you said, hey, this is for fear for me, my family, putting myself at risk. Now, there were two of you that one said definitely yes. And she did I think an excellent analysis and introspective look, saying, I'm not sure how I would react, but I would hope that this would be my reaction. I would go forth and say something. And the other one that was kind of borderline was, I'm thinking I would, but maybe at the last second or on second thought, I probably wouldn't. So you were very introspective and thoughtful. Now, this is my criticism, not of you that have said no, okay? But in general, when I teach this class, I always say to those of you that answered no, and some, not so much in this class, but I think one in this class didn't mention being part of an underground, just said I wouldn't do it. Most of the people that answered no, who did not say they would participate in an underground movement for fear of just being persecuted themselves, I want to ask you a question. What makes you and your family better than that Jew, or that homosexual, or that Catholic? What makes you and your family and your children more worth them? Oh, Professor Savini, wow, that's really provocative. You're asking me to put other people on par with my own flesh and blood? Think about it. Don't they suffer like you do? Don't they laugh like you do? Don't they bleed like you do? But no, you're making a value judgment that their lives, they could be thrown into a pit after being shot in the back of the head, right? They could be thrown in a furnace and burned alive. Or maybe just tortured and raped, right? No big deal. So when you answered no and did not say you would be part of an underground movement, my question to you is, what's your ethical framework? What are your core values? And are you possibly a sociopath, lacking emotion, compassion for your fellow man or woman? It's a tough question. Roughly one of you in class is that sociopath that knows how to fake it but doesn't really care. But most of us silently sit back and do nothing. So for those of you who said that you would be part of an underground movement, For example, Parth, Matt, um, Blake said that you're part of an underground movement. Let me ask you, when the government and its COVID mandates forced everyone to take a vaccine or lose their jobs, to be fired, and some corporations did too, what did you do? Did you sit back? Did you not see the injustice there? That people had valid either moral objections, religious objections, or just historical knowledge that Big Pharma cannot be trusted? Or did you just call them, I don't know, you know the label the media was using? Where were you? So if you didn't stand up for those who decided not to take the vaccine, what makes me think that you would be part of an underground movement to protect someone else who might be in dire straits if you couldn't take a position here? Remember, people lost their jobs. Nurses, doctors, first responders who were heroes were then just thrown into the street. Some lost their homes, if not worse. Where were you on that issue? Are you a moral hypocrite? Now, those of you that answer yes, say the same thing, same question to you. If you answered yes, that you would stand up for those Jews, those handicapped or disadvantaged people, those Polish priests, the gays, did you stand up for those who were forced to take shots against their will? Probably not. Reconcile your thoughts and what you think you are to your actions on a daily basis. Then you'll see where your integrity is. Okay? It's a tough discussion. I'm trying to drive some points home. Don't take it too personally, but kind of take it personally, introspectively, that is. Question yourself. Some of you, answered at least one or two that you wouldn't know what you would do. But I forced you to make a choice. I understand that. But in World War II, my mother was a nurse in Italy, and she nursed to health both American and Nazi soldiers. And she had fallen in love with a Nazi, actually, and he died, and my mom decided not to marry until she met my father many years later. But that's another story. But during the war, my mother told me that they protected Italian Jews. They would hide them up in the attic. They had these old wine barrels, and they would hide the Jews in the wine barrels. They would hide them behind curtains. Curtains in Italy, in Southern Europe, I guess even probably in Northern Europe more, those old homes made of stone, they have like carpeting. It's like a drape over the wall to try to keep the humidity and cold out because it creeps through the stone. My mom said they would hide Jews behind, those tapestries or behind furniture. Since she was a nurse, her uncle was a doctor, and he was very prominent. So the Nazi colonel in charge of that regiment there would often dine with my uncle. And my mom would chuckle and say, but he didn't realize we had Jews right under his nose. Now, I suspect he might have known and just let my uncle get away with it, figuring, hey, look, this doctor is taking care of my men. He's feeding my people here, senior officials. I'll let a few Jews go. That could have been the case. Hopefully, he had no clue. So, but I asked my mother, why did you do it, Ma? Why did you take the risk? So for those of you that might mock religion, don't believe in religion. My mom, a practicing Roman Catholic raised by nuns, said, Dominic, they're children of God just like we are. No better, no worse. And we have an obligation to protect them. So why do we see a melting society all around us, where every day the media and the politicians give us another reason to hate one another? You're left, you're right, you're black, you're white, you're legal, illegal, whatever it is, the labels, right? Straight, gay, trans, non-trans, cis, bi, whatever, all these. Why are we not all children of God? That's how the religious would look at it. A moral person who might be agnostic or atheist would say, are we not part of the same human family? You know, aren't we human beings? It's not like we're Martians. You know, some of us are from Mars, others from Venus. You know, we're different, like, you know, aliens. No, we're all of the human family. So even if you're not religious, why wouldn't you have answered this question and said, apart from religion now, apart how my mom felt and her family felt, they're part of the human family. I have an obligation to protect them and to do something. So thank you for participating in the PoP quiz. You'll be given more, and I appreciate, trust me, and I called out these names because I'm actually proud of all of you. I want to call out Parth, Matt, Lisa, Blake, Chris, Laura, Monica. And Monica, I just want to thank you. Wonderful write-up. Beautiful expression. I can tell you sincerely grappled with this. I mean, you all did, but the way you wrote it, it just came out on paper. Thank you all, and continue to be introspective. Allow me to challenge you so you can grow and be a better person. The public, this great country, needs good people who know how to stand and not stay silent. And that's one of the reasons I gave this PoP quiz, because I'm getting you ready for public service, where one day you're going to see some bad things. Are you just going to sit there and allow it to happen? Or are you going to rise up and say, no, this has got to stop? Or are you going to quietly do what you can? Okay? Think about it. I'm talking about corruption. Okay? Not political party kind of nonsense that we see the politicians doing. I'm talking about real corruption, when you know there are crimes being committed, people being harmed and hurt, taxpayers being stolen from. What are you going to do? See you on Tuesday or Wednesday when I put out our next video to recap, I guess, our discussion thread 5 and begin 6. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.